Welcome to Democracy-ish. I'm Danielle Moody.
And I'm Wajahat Ali. And, Danielle, I always wondered how it would feel if you were in the crowd or watching on TV in 1933 when Jesse Owens, the black runner, went to Germany and in front of Hitler just crushed the competition and, defeated the master race. And Adolf Hitler had to just sit there and take it and grin and clap. And I feel like I don't have to really imagine it anymore because I think we saw it yesterday.
Yeah. And we're going to get to that today because, there is so much. Like I say, every Monday, folks, I wake up and Wajahat Ali has sent at least 3 emails with all of the horrible stories that I tried to block out over the weekend, because unlike him, I actually do take breaks so that I don't have a breakdown. But so we open up today because we'll get to the US Open, which was just exquisite.
There's some good news. We have some good news.
There is some good news. It's a little bit, but we take what we get. So we wake up to the news this morning that E. Jean Carroll's defamation appeal, Donald Trump lost. And again, he was trying to get this. This is the shit that gets me, because this has been going on now since 2019. I mean, he was disparaging her from when he came down the escalator, essentially, in 2015. And so here is E. Jean Carroll, who Donald Trump defames by saying that she lied, that he did not rape her, that she's a liar, not his type, which was the title of her latest book, and her battles with him in court, which she's won. And Donald Trump's team tried to use the immunity cover that the Supreme Court gave him in saying that in 2019, when he was busy defaming her for having told the world that he raped her, that was his presidential duty and he was immune from that. That is what he was using. And the appeals court said, yeah, not today. So on top of the 83.3 million, she would also has another 5 million that was awarded to her that, again, he tried to appeal. That did not go. I don't know if this goes up to the Supreme Court and they just give him whatever it is that they want. But what did you make of today's news?
Look, we take the small piece of good news where we can. And it is related because Donald Trump has just a string of crimes. This man, due to his whiteness, his wealth, and his celebrity, has been allowed to rape his way to the top. And literally, this is a man who has raped his way all the way to the Oval Office. America, white America in particular, I know people don't like hearing it, but we'll bring the receipts, has given him a pass. Majority of white women, not all white women, majority of white women voters say, you were held liable for sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll, and you were held liable for defaming him. No problem. We'll vote for you again. 24 women have credibly accused you of sexual assault. No problem. We have you on tape saying you like to grab women by the pee. No problem. We have you partying with Epstein. No problem. So a man who has committed fraud, a man who has incited a violent insurrection, a man who has assaulted women his entire life, to see E. Jean Carroll take him on and keep winning, I think is a win that we should celebrate. And furthermore, a federal appeals court, instead of the Supreme Court finally slapping him down, is fantastic. I don't have any faith in the Supreme Court because I got to mention some breaking news. This Supreme Court, yet again, basically his buddies on speed dial that rubber stamp anything he wants him to do through the shadow docket. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, just an hour ago, said that Donald Trump can fire a Democratic FTC Commissioner, Rebecca Slaughter, while the lawsuit proceeds. A appeals court found last week that Commissioner Rebecca Slaughter, Danielle, could be reinstated of her job because Trump had fired her, quote, without cause. But this Supreme Court said, for now, you can go ahead and fire her. So to your point, will the Supreme Court actually take this case and slap down E. Jean Carroll? I don't think so, but we shouldn't be surprised. That being said, take the wins where you can. And also, speaking about women getting their much deserved win against Donald Trump returned to the scene of his crimes. A little, this is a little small story that people really aren't talking about. The U.S. Open was over the weekend, folks. For those who have joined us when I talked about the Jesse Owens moment of 1936, I got their year wrong. Forgive me. And people forget, and George Conway and others reminded that Donald Trump groped two women at prior U.S. Opens in 97 and 98. There are two separate women who have come out and credibly accused Donald Trump of sexually assaulting them at the U.S. Open. And he returns to that U.S. Open where, folks, where he told, like the coward that he is, he told the U.S. Open that you better block people from whoever boos me. You better make sure you don't say it. So then the U.S. Open sent an email to broadcasters saying, hey, censor any crowd reactions during the protest, right? And then thank God somebody leaked it. U.S. Open was mocked and ridiculed to their face. People said, F you cowards for bending the knee. And Donald Trump nonetheless showed up. And Danielle, tell us, what was the reaction to Donald Trump coming back to the U.S. Open? Those are boos, by the way, folks.
Gotta be. I mean, everybody knows that they were boos. Like, first of all, you gotta be some pathetic, and I'm gonna say it because I'm in this kind of mood on this Monday. That is some small dick energy to have to fucking tell the broadcasters to please don't show the boos. Because I thought everybody loves you. I thought that we're living in your world, right? Like this is Trump's world. Everybody loves him. Right? He's just amazing. He's everybody's savior. So why wouldn't you show? I don't think that Obama has ever had to go to an event, not one time, and said, hey, please, can you please not show them basically jumping from their seats to try and get a photo with me and cheering? Because Obama was just at a sporting event a couple of weeks ago, and those images went viral because it was like, welcome, former President Obama, and the crowd went wild for at least 2-3 minutes. So let's just be clear. What you didn't see on broadcast, you absolutely did see on social media, because for all of the things that Donald Trump tries to control, his image, the message, truth, information, etc., there is this little thing called the internet, where everything lives. So the majority of people have already unplugged from television. Let's just say that. You all are here because you don't waste your time watching mainstream news. So mainstream news showed again over the weekend why people have cut the cord, because we can't trust you to do your job as the fourth estate because you're too busy kissing Donald Trump's ass. So there you go.
And just, remember that Jeb Bush famous clip? Please clap. Donald Trump is like, please don't show them booing me. These are weak, cowardly men. They can dish it, but they can't take it. All of them. Bullies have the weakest chins and the weakest knees. And it just is revealed in Donald Trump. They're so petty, they're so fickle, they're so weak that they use their power to try to bully the U.S. Open into then bullying broadcasters. And as some of our viewers have mentioned in the comment section, it was so great to see a small bit of resistance where the news broadcasters and even ESPN, they didn't censor it. They just showed the live crowd reaction, and those live crowd reactions had a smattering of applause because it's an insane, self-destructive country. But overwhelmingly, Booze. Folks, this is where
No,
we
let
are.
me I just want to be, because I know that people love to say, like, oh no, there was clapping. The people that were clapping were the people that were paid to be there for Donald Trump.
Probably makes sense.
Let us stop pretending that there are people that see Donald Trump's face and they are so ecstatic and overwhelmed with joy that they are fucking clapping. I would not even put it past broadcast in this moment to having put out a fucking applause track, right, to try and overlay the booze, which has happened before.
Please clap. To answer Gus's question, real quick, can we go back to Gus? Yes, Gus. Ticket sales have plummeted to Kennedy Center after Donald Trump took it over, which is further proof that everything that Trump touches dies. But folks, the best part was first and foremost, the match was excellent. For those who don't follow tennis, you had 22-year-old Spanish phenom Alcaraz defeat a Sinner, who's also very good. Alcaraz, folks, is a brown-skinned Spanish man. Sinner is like the whitest man on earth. Everyone, this is when it was announced.
He's Italian. He's not the whitest man on earth. Italian,
but he looks white. He looks super white. That's what I meant. He looks very white, and white is also a social construction. But nonetheless, Alcaraz wins. Everyone's ecstatic. Phenomenal guy. Third title, right? Everyone's like, look at the witness of this brilliant 22-year-old Spanish dark-skinned phenom. This was Donald Trump's face as it was announced. It was so clear that he was so pissed off. Oh, look at him. Look.
There you go.
Danielle, explain that.
How would you like me to explain it? Racism. Like, here's the thing. Much in the same way, and I'm so glad that you brought up the 1936 Olympics, because I think that it's important, because it is very much like on par. No matter the erasure that white supremacists try and do, no matter the erasure, no matter the lies that they tell themselves, no matter how many books that they try and burn, reality is always going to smack them in the face. And that, I mean, I'll just put it up again. That is Donald Trump's reaction, because reality is always...
I gotta do one more time.
Reality is always going to smack you in the face when you're talking about, quote unquote, white dominance, excellence, et cetera. You can't compete, right? Like, and you're always going to get, particularly around athletics, which I think is just always such a good space. But again, we'll talk about this in a little bit. Donald Trump going after all of these accomplished, brilliant Black women, going after all of these accomplished, brilliant Black people and people of color. Why is that? Because they have risen to places of position and power that, regardless of the obstacles, regardless of the racism, the discrimination, and the misogyny, they have found their way to the top, which is a complete and total affront to the belief that only white men who have shown themselves. I mean, the beautiful thing about Donald Trump and his junk draw cabinet is the fact that they have shown us what white mediocrity and incompetence looks like. Yep. I have said this so many times over for so long that they look at themselves in the mirror, so they have to shatter the mirror. And then they have to say and make it so that other people that have arrived in positions, well, they only got there because they're Black. They only got there because they're a woman. They only got there because they're queer or because they're ability diverse. No, they got there because they are better than you. Yep. That's why. And you can't take that. So you need to close your eyes and your ears and pretend that those people don't exist. Because when put side by side, there was a fucking video, and I wish I would have pulled it today, Waj. There's a video that I don't even know why Pete Hegseth would put up this pathetic video of himself trying to do a pull-up. Have you seen this video?
No.
God, I gotta find it. I'm gonna look for it, and I'm gonna play it before the end of the show. It's Pete Hegseth trying to do a pull-up, and he has all these men around him, and he posts this video, and it's pathetic. He can't do a pull-up. He's like a little kid kicking his legs, trying to like force his chin above the bar. A woman on TikTok, white woman, baby strapped to her, doing pull-ups.
Oh, that's dope.
Does a friggin' like side by side, and she's just like, maybe the baby would have helped you.
Oh,
It's like
it's
everything that you need to see and understand about these men. That woman, baby strapped to her, she was doing pull-ups like it was light work. Oh, I gotta find it.
This is white supremacy in America. It's a mediocrity that Danielle and I, and even Joy Reid and I have talked about, which, hit dogs holler. When Joy and I spoke last month, we talked about this and they were so pissed. They did articles about that conversation for 9 days because we dared criticize some of their white gods, their white kings, right? And we talked about the contributions of Black and brown folks in America, the excellence of Black and brown and Asian folks in America, despite all the hurdles, right? Despite all the racism, despite all the bigotry, despite the lack of any nepotism, because people like us never got invited to the party. So we had to like create our own ladder, right? And it just, folks, look at in real time what Danielle's saying. Look at this administration. They have removed DEI. They have purged or trying to purge the government and schools of any affirmative action, DEI, stories of our excellence, stories of our history, Navajo code talkers, Jackie Robinson, Tuskegee Airmen. Literally, transgender people are literally deleted. Now it's just LGB, right? And they have fired women and Black people in particular and brought on the master race, right? The white man. Look at these white men. Just look at them. Look at Pete Hegseth. Look at RFK Jr. Look at friggin' who else is there? All these press secretaries, right? Look at Kristi Noem. Just look at Sean Duffy, Real World alum, director of transportation. The world's most mediocre whites who need to completely game the system in order to have two legs up and a chin up the pull-up bar, because they know they can't compete in order to fulfill their friggin' myths and narratives of white supremacy. And even then, with all the privileges, even after eliminating DEI, even after putting so many barriers, even after suppressing voices of color, you would think that they could succeed.
No.
And they can't. They show their mediocre ass in real time. And then what Donald Trump does, because he knows, I think secretly all of them know, it's always projection all the time. And they have such contempt towards women and Black people in particular. Number one, Black people. Number two, women. And then extends to the rest of us, right? But if there was a hierarchy, it's Black people, number one, women, and then everyone else. And it just shows you their rage, their fixation, right? Their obsession. And case in point, before Donald Trump went to the US Open and was booed and then showed that little disgusted, constipated face because a Spaniard won, he, of course, took out his rage against a qualified, competent, intelligent Black woman. Do we have that clip?
But before I show you that, I must, folks, show you this.
Oh, you found it.
Trump who inspired us to do this.
That was pathetic.
I mean, because this video is just too quick, but it's just, he can't do it.
He can't do it. Can you do it again?
He can't do it. And it just looks, he looks so stupid.
It was President Trump.
So dumb. Okay. But
you ever see a Mad Max Fury Road? Immortan Joe, he looks at these people and he goes, mediocre. They are mediocre. There's a great meme.
At best.
Mediocre.
Okay, so to your point, the video that we are talking about is this one.
Say that, darling, that's fake news.
Well, why
I
would
don't
the
go to war.
Department of Defense?
Listen, be quiet. Listen, you don't listen. You never listen. That's why you're second rate. We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
So I just want to put up, first off, he calls her darling. Okay? That's number one. Then he has the audacity to tell her that she's second rate. If she were second rate, do you know where she wouldn't be? Asking the president of the United States any fucking questions to his face, right? Because that's how accomplished most of the reporters who used to be in the White House press pool, who were not handpicked by Donald Trump and bobblehead Barbie. That's where you are. But Donald Trump cannot, like I say, the thing that pisses Donald Trump off the most is Black women. He hates women. He hates women because he's a womanizer, and he just hates women. He hates powerful women, but most importantly, he hates powerful, smart Black women.
Oh, yeah.
That is what gets under Donald Trump's skin, because he believes that as a white man, he is smarter, he is better, he is stronger, he is more wanted. And Black women see through him like fucking cellophane. And he cannot take it. Black women, accomplished, brilliant Black women, are the mirror that man cannot look through, because it shows him to be weak, small, stupid, and incompetent, even after having everything given to you. Everything given to you, you're still lack fucking luster, because mediocre is not, they're under mediocre. Those are my thoughts.
I love it. Mediocre. And folks, to just give more evidence to Danielle's thesis, he picks on Yamiche. Yes, someone asked, is that Yamiche Alcindor from PBS? He picks on her. I mean, it's really disgusting. First, he calls her darling, and then he says, be quiet, you don't listen, as if she's like this petulant girl. Why should she be quiet? She's a press member.
To her in the first administration, too. Yeah. It's how she rose to fame. Because he came at her in the White House press corps, in the briefing room, in his first term. And everybody was just like, whoa. And
also, when he wants to dismantle and take over the Federal Reserve, he can't take on white man Jerome Powell. Who does he pick on? The first Black person to become a board member, Lisa Cook. Who does he take on? Letitia James. He promotes conspiracy theories against, wait for it, Oprah, Beyonce. Who did he take on? Kamala Harris, who he tries to compare himself to, tries so desperately to be as successful as, to be as loved as, but never will be, Barack Obama. This is white supremacy in full display. All the rage, all the insecurity, all the self-loathing, all the projection, the knowingness that they are mediocre, the knowingness that they cannot compete on a level playing field, the knowingness that people of color and women, once given an equal opportunity, will run circles around them. And because they cannot admit it, that comes out in the form of contempt, violence, and loathing. And you saw it right there, right? He doesn't take on the whites. Always picks on the Black person. Notice, always a woman, or usually a Black woman, consistently throughout his career. But in this particular case, Yamiche held her ground. She knows what's up. But folks, I would be pissed off too if I was Donald Trump, because the poll numbers are coming out. And we have tried our best on Democracy-ish to always bring you all the latest up-to-date polls. And what we have said is that he will sink in the polls. Give it 6 months. Around the 6-month mark this summer, once his policies went in effect, pew, now it's the 8-month mark. Danielle, let's just do a laundry list of all of his signature, brilliant, amazing accomplishments and how the American people are responding. Folks, it's barely been 8 months. The signature bill, the signature legislation, the reason why so many oligarchs propped up this cankled, decaying orange husk, this big, beautiful bill, which adds $3 trillion to the debt, dismantles Medicaid, dismantles Obamacare, and adds $180 billion to ICE, making like essentially his own Gestapo, and adds 10,000 ICE agents and also increases private prisons and detention centers. This signature bill, Danielle, can you please let us know how the American public is responding to it?
Well, let's see. CBS News poll on the big bullshit billionaire bill. 39% approve. 39%, 61% disapprove. There is a breakdown along gender, age, etc. But this, for a signature bill, for your amazing bill that's supposed to transform America, which it is because it's the largest transfer of wealth. And I don't even like to use that term. I like to say, oh, it's the largest grift, it's the largest theft from the 99% to the wealthiest 1%. 61% disapprove. When you look at the breakdown, you see across that, let's see, women, 61, total 61%. Women, 63% disapprove. Men, 59% disapprove. You have ages. Donald Trump has lost his elderly population, 45 to 64 and 65 plus, 58% and 57% disapprove. I wonder why, because they're the ones most likely to lose what? Medicaid, right? And Social Security benefits, okay? So you see here, folks, that,
and also, Daniel, can we just say this is before the dismantling of Medicaid? In a year and a half, that's when they're going to do the $1 trillion cuts to Medicaid, right after the midterms. So imagine what will happen after that, Daniel. We don't have to imagine. I predict people are going to die, because that's what's going to happen when there are $1 trillion cuts to Medicaid and people are kicked off of insurance, because it's also going to impact Obamacare. Rural hospitals, they have shown, will shut down. About 20% of rural nursing homes will shut down. There will just be a public healthcare disaster. Also, we're now dealing with measles and polio, a spike in diseases becoming great again, which means that there are going to be travel advisories to America. And furthermore, I predict that countries are going to say, if you're from Florida and X, Y, and Z state, yeah, you can't come here. America's further going to be isolated. Economy is going to be in the shitter. And my prediction, and I hope I'm wrong, I think in about a year and a half, we're going to get a couple of more Luigi Mangions. Daniel.
I mean, look, I think that you're giving too much time of a year and a half. I predict that 6 months from now, 6 months from now, meaning as we are headed into the supposed midterm elections that I do not believe are actually going to occur, as we're supposed to be heading into that, which will be a year from now, September, the election would be a few months away, that there won't be, remember how we would wait around for the October surprise? All of 2026 is about to be an October surprise for the American people and for this administration. I just want to pull up these poll numbers as well. Favor or oppose Trump deploying the National Guard to Washington, D.C., 57% oppose. Other cities, 58% oppose. Your area, 61% oppose. Again, approval across the board, NBC News poll by SurveyMonkey. Approval for Trump in general, 57% disapprove. Trump's approval on handling the border, -6.
That was his strong suit. The border and deportations was his strong suit, folks.
Deportation, -14. -14.
Double digits.
Inflation, -22. That's your tariffs. So for me, I'm saying I understand what you're talking about, Waj, in terms of when those cuts to Medicaid, Social Security, when they will take effect. But the reality is that the effects of Donald Trump's policies are already hitting.
True.
I went to so I always love to tell this story on Monday, particularly because I go to the grocery store like most Americans over the weekend, right? So you go to the grocery store. Folks, have you tried to buy a bottle of olive oil recently? I went to the cheapest fucking market that I could find in Brooklyn. And I go to find olive oil which I cook with every day. Can somebody explain to me why the olive oil was at $25 at one 25 fucking dollars? And I'm not talking about fancy olive oil. I'm talking about regular olive oil.
It's like
$25.
Danielle's like, I just want the podunk olive oil. Like, we have extra virgin.
I
want the skanky one. I don't need virgin.
At this point, I don't need a brand name. Do you know what I'm saying? I just need it to say extra virgin olive oil in big letters on the fucking container. I don't care what, like Bertolli, this one. I can give a fuck because I can't afford it. So I end up getting this olive oil. I went to three different stores, and the cheapest one I found was on sale for $17.
Tariffs. Tariffs. As we mentioned on last week's show, McDonald's CEO came out and said, yeah, some of our customers are skipping breakfast now.
Right.
That's not good for us. Walmart is talking about increasing the prices. They tried their best, meaning the small businesses and large corporations, to absorb the costs, right? But they can't because tariffs are taxes. And as we, who are simple humanities majors, know that eventually who pays for those tariffs? The American consumer. And voila, folks, it's happening. It's happening. The prices are going up, up, up. And also what's going up, real quick, let's see if we have this one, the healthcare. Look at this.
Go ahead.
Make America healthy again, right, folks? Right? Donald Trump promised he's going to bring prices down immediately. He's going to get elected. He's going to bring prices down. He's going to elected, and all the countries will respect America and stop screwing us around, right? So far, zero trade deals. He's going to get elected, and America will become affordable again. He's going to get elected, and healthcare would be affordable again. He's going to get elected, and there will be peace in Ukraine. Danielle?
Yeah. So, surprise! Americans face biggest increase in health insurance costs in 15 fucking years. 15 years. I will tell you another little antidote because I am an entrepreneur. I work for myself. I have to use marketplace insurance, right? Thank goodness for Obamacare and New York City still having open markets for health insurance. Can I tell you that my health insurance went up by $50? It's already obscene.
It's $50 a month?
No. It went up. Yes, it went up $50 more a month.
Wow.
And I'm not afraid to tell people my health insurance is crap. And it was at, let's see, what was it? $680 a month.
Holy shit.
Right. I don't have a wife that's a doctor. So I'm like, so it was $680.
I get my insurance, folks. We always try to be transparent in the show. I have gotten my insurance because my wife is a doctor who works at a university. And because of my wife's position as a medical professor, and she's a doctor, that's how the entire family has insurance. When I was in Danielle's shoes from the ages of 21 to 32, we had to go hunt and find our insurance. And much like Danielle, I paid a lot more for shitty insurance. Shitty. It was just like, if I'm like, and I had a near-death experience, which like kept me, I needed that insurance or else I'd be completely bankrupt. And even then, I had to go do heart surgery and they had to like defibrillate me, all that stuff. I still had to pay out of pocket for all this ish. So it's like the world's most like podunk insurance, but that just keeps us barely above water, right?
Yes.
And now think about it. If it's $600 a month for podunk crappy, been around the block, not extra virgin, not even virgin olive oil, it's skanky insurance. And now you add $50 a month, do the math, 12 times 50, 600. So Americans who are working two jobs just to stay broke, now you're asking them to find $600 extra just for insurance. And we haven't even talked about the extra money because it all adds up when it comes to groceries, when it comes to restaurants, right? Sometimes you want to eat out. Folks, people don't have the money. And then furthermore, when it comes to the big, beautiful bill, the averages were that this would make Americans like raise costs $2,000. So that's completely excluding the insurance and the tariffs. That just from Make America, the Make Billionaires Great Again bill, right? They said average uptick as a result of us paying for rich people to not pay their taxes was going to be about $1,500. So if you add all this money up and people are already broke and living month to month, where are they going to find, Danielle, the extra $2,500 to $3,000?
Well, here's Michelle saying there is no extra money.
There.
That's exactly right. Because again, I think for myself, right? I am single, right? A single woman. And I am paying that much insurance for myself. I think to myself, my God, what if I had kids? Right? Well, one, I wouldn't be able to be an entrepreneur. I'll tell you that. Because I would have to stay at the job that was squeezing out my soul in order to be able to have health insurance, which is what a majority of Americans are forced to do. But I want you to now think about the fact that we talked about this briefly last week. 300,000 Black women have lost their jobs, have been pushed out of their jobs this year alone. Black women are the canary in the coal mines for the unemployment rate. Black unemployment, right, at writ large is at 7% right now. So if you're talking, again, health insurance just made more expensive, hundreds of thousands of people, by the time that this year is probably a wrap, will probably be close to 1 million people that have been pushed out of their jobs, whether they were cut from the federal government thanks to Doge and waste, whether they were cut from corporate jobs that are now, oh, well, we have to make up for these tariffs and make up for the loss. God forbid you just cut down the salary of one person,
No.
CEO, in order to save the jobs of tens of thousands of people. No, we are not going to do that because we're going to automate those jobs anyway with AI, right? These are the things that the Trump administration is hailing. So the fact is that you're going to see, I mean, the skyrocketing of homelessness, of sickness and disease, all of these things.
Crime.
Of crime, because now you have manufactured desperation from this administration. So I think about myself and how I care for myself and the squeeze that I'm beginning to feel as an individual. And then I project that out to families of 4 and 5 and more, right? People who are now going to have to take care of their elderly parents because guess what? Nursing homes gonna start closing. You know why? Because they're not going to be receiving the Medicaid, right? Because that's what nursing homes make their money on. And with that gone, with that cut by billions of dollars, who is going to be taking care of your elderly parents, your grandparents, etc.? You are. How are you going to afford to do that when we're talking about hundreds of thousands of people losing their jobs? We are headed toward, like, when folks say, oh, I think we may be on the verge of a recession. No.
Collapse.
It is not a recession. It is a full fucking collapse of our economy. That's where we are headed. And that is what every economist is saying. That isn't paid for by Donald Trump.
I hope people can, and pardon me for promoting this, Danielle, it's only because I think it's helpful. Over the weekend, I had Dr. Mark Elaine Derry, who loves our show, loves you, and he's an infectious disease physician in New Orleans, has traveled around the world, also helped during Katrina. And he just started off the program saying we're effed. And I strongly recommend people listen to it because he connects the dots, talks about the viral collapse of not just our healthcare system, but every system, and then offers tools and tips on how people can protect themselves. And he said, this is generational damage. He's on the front lines. He's also a scientist, statistician. He's using logic. He connects all the dots. He said, this is viral collapse of every single industry in America, specifically the healthcare industry. And we talked about, and he just went like one after another. This is how we're all going to go down. And he is a doctor, again, infectious disease specialist, who is talking about now the fact that there's vaccine hesitancy. Measles has come back. And he said, yeah, people are talking about measles, No one's talked about bird flu yet. And then COVID, and then this is what happened. So I strongly recommend listening to him and Kavita Patel, who I talked to, are doctors who both said what Danielle is saying. Collapse is here. You can't trust the institutions. You have to take care of yourself and your families, and this is how you do it. And the one group, folks, the one group that was actually helping, your elders, the group that actually is in the nursing homes. Guess who that group is? Can you tell them what group is the one that does all that work?
Oh, at least in New York, it's Caribbean immigrants. And so everywhere else, it is immigrants that are the ones that are not only at the beginning of life, your fucking nannies and your cleaners and what have you. At the end of life, they are your end of life care as well. And so where are we now? Oh, Americans' views on immigration's effect on the US. Oh, now they say it's a good thing. 79% of Americans say it's a good thing. And I love this post by Eric Fiegel Ding, who says immigrants are good for the country. Lots of buyer's remorse among Trump voters when the cost of goods and services suddenly spiking now that people see the societal and economic damages from the quote unquote crackdown. The crackdown is basically cracking us all over our heads in terms of where we are being set up to fail, all for the greed and the insatiability of the ultra wealthy. But do you know who hasn't budged, folks, in their thinking? Waj.
Generic ballot polling among white Americans. 47% of Republicans. That's pretty good. 38% of Democrats. The whites. Danielle and I keep saying it, and we know it's not all whites. We know there are many white viewers, elders, women who watch our show. Thank you so much. You have exquisite taste. We know 45% of white women did not vote for Donald Trump. The reality that Danielle and I keep talking about, and I wrote an article in the Daily Beast, and oh my God, I get hate all the time when I take on MAGA, but when I talked about the history of white women supporting Republican presidents, Danielle, the amount of hate I got from centrist white women, Democratic white women, liberal white women. Oh my, I wish I'll send you all those emails. Oh, fee, fi, fo, fum, they were pissed. Because what I said is these white women, these Karens are killing us and killing themselves. And they got pissed. Well, not me. And I brought out all the statistics. Can we bring that number up again?
Oh, yeah.
And I showed them the statistics that white women, the majority of white women voters, folks, are triple Trumpers. They have voted for Donald Trump a majority of time in 2016, 2020, 2024.
3 times.
A majority of white women have gone for a Republican president since the 60s. The only 2 times they defected was Lyndon B. Johnson and once for Bill Clinton. And speaking about the white grievance and white rage, that one group that stays is specifically undereducated white voters, majority of white men and white women. Because despite all of this, they're like, you know what? Yeah, we'll stick with them, Danielle.
Yeah, and so I just want to show people what sticking with Donald Trump gets you, which is breaking. Everyone pause for shock in the comments right now. In a shocking revelation, over 30% of Arkansas farmers who voted overwhelmingly for Trump are forecasted to go bankrupt by next year because of Trump's disastrous tariffs, unless given emergency funds. Now, we know how much, and I'm going to play you this clip, how much Donald Trump loves to bail out only white people. So he'll have to figure out how he only bails out white farmers because he has, and he will. But take a listen.
Almost everything that could go wrong for Arkansas farmers did go wrong this year. And it's so bad that many are facing bankruptcy or even the closure of farms that have been passed down for generations. A dismal global market and plunging commodity prices mean there's little to no hope of breaking even for many farmers, even as sky-high input costs rise because of inflation and now tariffs. Not to mention bad weather earlier in the year.
This time last year, the rice price was about 40% higher than it is now. The inputs costs have gone up. So after a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
Though President Trump's big beautiful bill provided a much needed update to safety net subsidies for farmers, they won't see those federal dollars until late next year, by which time some have projected that as many as 1/4 or even 1/3 of Arkansas farmers will face bankruptcy or be forced to leave the business amid the crisis the American ag economy is currently in. It's already taken its toll this year.
I'm a sixth-generation farmer from Newport, and we made the decision to go out this year. In the spring. So my son will not be the seventh generation on our farm.
5 of my customers have committed suicide. That's how serious that this is.
Today, Arkansas farmers gathered to share their struggles with staffers from the state's congressional delegation, pleading for Arkansas lawmakers on Capitol Hill and the governor to convince President Trump to provide emergency funding to help them make it to next year.
We have to have ad hoc payments right now to make it through this year.
If there's no emergency funding this year, there will be 1 out of 3 farmers will file bankruptcy.
Until the federal government steps in to save them, farmers have no one to turn to but God.
Farmers, in my opinion, dear Lord, and it's only my opinion, are closer to thee than anyone else on this earth because we deal with your earth every day. Dear Lord, we're hurting, dear Lord. We can't help what's happened to us.
God says don't vote for the corrupt pedophile.
But
no, God, we gotta vote for him. God says vote for the competent black Indian woman. Sorry, God, gotta vote for the white supremacist.
Yep. He said, oh, the man preacher at the end said, oh, we couldn't help this. Right? No, you absolutely could have fucking helped this by voting for your best interests and not your whiteness. And so here's the thing to me. I don't give a fuck. I really don't. I really don't. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, the prices are going up for the rest of us. There ain't nobody to pick their fucking farm produce. There's nobody to work on their farms because they voted against their own interests. Because these people that are supposedly so close to the land like Jesus had intended don't believe in fucking climate change. They know exactly how much rain has come in versus has not come in. They know exactly, 5 generations and you don't know the fucking difference in the climate that is happening, but you want to pray about it. So let them go fucking pray. Because I really hope that Donald Trump doesn't bail them out. I really hope that 1 in 3 do fucking go bankrupt because you get what you vote for. And we're already collectively feeling the pain because of their fucking stupidity, because of their racism. So I don't give a fuck.
You know what? I can't blame you for thinking like that. They don't care about us. You don't care about them. We tried to warn them. I do feel bad because I don't want people to suffer in order to feel great again. I don't need to suffer in order to feel great again. But what can you do when you tell people again and again and again and again and again, and then they still say, nah, F you, I'm going to dig this hole and push you in it. And then you and me, like Bugs Bunny, are like, we're on to you. We've been playing this game far longer. We've survived. And then they fall into the hole that they dug for you. You know, I didn't push them in. You didn't push them in. I hope once they pray, God tells them, listen, wake up. Stop being a white supremacist. Get over your hate. Get over your bigotry. Expand your heart and your consciousness. Look to your black and brown brothers and sisters and fellow farmers and realize that they're in it with you and that your real enemy is the oligarchy that's screwing you, and put aside your need to be superior and your disinformation and link arms with the black and the browns who have more in common with you than Rupert Murdoch and Elon Musk. And maybe if you do that, and when you do that, you'll realize, oh, I got hoodwinked all along by these people. Danielle,
let me tell you something, because here's my other thing too. These are the same people who want to talk about welfare queens. These are the same people that want to say, oh, who should and shouldn't get handouts from the federal government. But you're now with your hat in your hand coming over to Donald Trump, begging him to give you a break. Oh my God, because I'm going to lose my farm. I'm going to lose generational wealth. By the way, land that was already stolen from indigenous people, then stolen again from Black people that worked it for nothing. So you want to talk, oh, generational farms and generational this, that, and the other thing. This country already cut you slack for being white. You got property, right? You got land that everyone else that was Black and brown and indigenous was kicked off of, that had rights to. So again, I don't want people to suffer, but you get what you vote for. So I am not going to use my time and my energy to pray for people who voted for their own demise. And then we'll once again get the fucking handouts that are denied people that are actually deserving.
Our listeners and viewers are just like you. They're like Angela Bassett from Waiting to Exhale. They're just like,
never again. Never again. She said, never again. So these are the people. They've turned the White House, the People's House, into a fucking white boys only country club.
There's one white woman. I saw one white woman.
I'm sure she's staff. That's what they are doing.
I saw a Black. I saw one Black too.
Was he holding a tray? Either he was holding a tray or shining somebody's shoes, and either way, it was probably Byron Donalds, because he loves to do both, right? The step and fetch it for the white nationalists. This is what happens to you. This, you know, when you sent this to me, and I looked at this picture of bobblehead Barbie, right?
That's Caroline Leavitt, folks, on the right and on the left.
And I said, do you remember that scene in the Glenn Close Stepford Wives? It was Glenn Close and Nicole Kidman, and what they all looked like when they showed up into Stepfordville. They looked like normal. They looked like homegirl on the other side, and then their husbands, you know, put them through the machines, and then they all have bigger boobs and blonder hair, and they're all like fit. And this is what it means to be MAGAfied, to not even be able to look into the mirror and recognize yourself. This is what it means to sell pieces of your soul, right? Because Donald Trump looked at her and said, you don't look right. So all of these women have to go through the same fucking makeover, which is a make under, honestly, because my God, the
look
lips,
at what they make
nose,
you give,
the eyebrows.
To quote Born Identity, look at what they make you give. And there was another photo I found, but I couldn't download it, folks. It was Kristi Noem, Caroline Leavitt, Kimberly. I always don't know how to pronounce her last name. Gavin Newsom's ex-wife, who then was Donald Trump's girlfriend. And then something about Kimberly, I saw her and I'm like, man, she was
attractive.
She was so pretty. I'm like, oh, why did you do that to yourself? And then when she had the MAGA transformation, right? Look at what they make you give. Look at how it changes you on the inside and the outside. It's literal physical corruption. It's like the picture of Dorian Gray, but in reverse.
Yeah. And then there is other types of corruption. Other types of corruption that looks like this. You know, J.D. Vance talking about killing people that he doesn't even know. No identify. This is the attack that they did on the boat.
Killed 11 people
in Venezuela. They told us that they were cartel members. How would you know? You have no intel, right? Where's the intel? Much like, again, you carted off 230 men to CCOT and tell us that they're all gang members and they're all drug addicts and drug pushers. If they were, then the American people would be on your side. Just show us the proof. But you have no proof. But this is this fucking piece of shit, J.D. Vance. Killing cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military. Yes, Lynn, you're correct. It was murder. Brian Krasenstein, killing the citizens of another nation who are civilians without any due process is called a war crime. JD Vance, I don't give a shit what you call it.
I'm glad. Thank you for the evidence and proof that will, inshallah, be used against you when there are trials, if there's ever trials. But this country always gives a pass to white supremacy and criminals and traitors and Confederate soldiers who seceded. So, but if there are ever trials, which I hope there are, because a lot of people need to be tried and prosecuted and sent to jail for their numerous crimes, that there would be evidence number one. And folks, Rand Paul, of all people, this is the timeline that we're living in, the timeline from hell. Rand Paul, of all people, responded. JD, I don't give a shit, Vance, says killing people he accuses of a crime is the highest and best use of the military. Did he ever read To Kill a Mockingbird? He did. He's a doughboy who went to Ivy League schools. Did he ever wonder what would happen if the accused were immediately executed without trial or representation? What a despicable and thoughtless sentiment it is to glorify killing someone without a trial. And guess what? I know people might not like hearing this. Rand Paul has had more fire against JD Vance and Donald Trump for the extrajudicial assassination, let's call it for what it is, of these 11 individuals who, by the way, folks, no evidence has been presented whatsoever that they committed any crimes. That is an extrajudicial assassination, straight up murder of 11 people who some say could actually just be migrants in international waters, which is now a saber-rattling war with Venezuela. Rand Paul has said more than Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer. As of last night, they have not said a word about Donald Trump straight up, openly trying to kill anyone he deems a terrorist.
You know, so here, and this is Donald Trump. I love the smell of deportations in the morning. I mean, look at this shit. This is what the president of the United States is posting, himself looking like some type of desperado, and
Apocalypse Now, Daniel. Apocalypse Now.
Everything on fire behind him. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. So when Yamiche Alcindor, let's just go back to this, says, why are you declaring war on an American city? And he says, you need to listen. You don't listen. You need to pay attention. Motherfucker, she is paying attention. You posted it.
This is Apocalypse Now. For those of you who know, I love my pop culture. There's a scene in Apocalypse Now, an anti-war movie directed by Francis Ford Coppola, where Robert Duvall has a very memorable cameo. And Robert Duvall plays Lieutenant Kilgore, a straight up psychopath who leads war crimes against a Vietnamese village. There's a scene where they're playing Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries, and the helicopters come and just kill. It just dun 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 dun. Robert Duvall's character unfazed by all the horror. Robert Duvall's character lands and looks at the water and goes, I like to surf. It's time to surf. And then one of the young soldiers is a famous surfer, and he goes, okay, let's surf. There's kids crying, napalm, villages burned down. And then Robert Duvall's character with the famous line, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. It smells like victory. And that, Danielle, that scene is what some freak, probably Stephen Miller or one of his interns, AI Donald Trump onto that he posted. That's what he wants to do against Black Americans in Chicago, just to give it context.
Thank you for that context, because this is what we're dealing with. And so you're saying to yourself, as we wrap up today's show, what's the goal here? What's the goal? What is it that Donald Trump wants, right? Well, let us just remind you what he so boldly told President Zelensky when he was sitting in his tacky ass Oval Office. Oh, nope. Hold on one second, because I gotta remove, and I gotta remove Pete Hegseth. And now we can play this video, because there's just so much to have shown you today.
legal elections.
So you say
we're ready.
during the war you can't have elections. So let me just say 3.5 years from now. So you mean if we happen to be in a war with somebody, no more elections? Oh, that's good. I wonder what the fake.
You like this idea?
No, this is
No.
Speaking of news,
Why was any of that funny? I mean, I know why Zelensky has to laugh, because he's like, wow, you're fucking nuts and absurd, but like still need this country's money because I'm in a war. But the journalists in the room, when he's saying, so 3.5 years, so what did we just talk about? Donald Trump's image, AI image of going to war with the city of Chicago. JD Vance saying, I don't give a fuck what you call it if it's a war crime to murder 11 citizens of another country without due process. They are staging war. And that, the end goal is authoritarianism, because then they can justify martial law and they can put their boot on America's neck and cut off our oxygen, our hope, our will, everything. That is the end goal. Waj?
Very quick before we wrap up. And folks, it's even more direct than that. In the summer, Stephen Miller used the word invasion to rationalize unleashing the Alien Enemies Act. Stephen Miller used the word invasion and, wait for it, insurrection to rationalize unleashing ICE and the National Guard against Los Angeles, even though the LAPD went out of its way and thanked LA citizens and organizers for peaceful resistance. Stephen Miller has used the word invasion and connected it to what? Latin America and drugs. El Salvador, Venezuela, Tren de Aragua. That's the rationalization that they've used to literally kidnap and deport innocent legal immigrants, like Kilmar Abrego Garcia, right? So when Donald Trump now says he can unilaterally declare anyone terrorist and then use straight up assassination to go after them, and now he's saber rattling with Venezuela because he can't fight with other countries. So Venezuela, we could take him out. What that does is give him the rationalization to declare, wait for it, martial law, right? Look at these drug dealers and invaders and rapists coming from El Salvador and Venezuela who've taken over and caused chaos in America. As the president of the United States, it is up to me to keep America safe. I must unleash my Gestapo and the military on these blue cities. And guess what? You know what? It's so unsafe. I have to declare martial law to temporarily suspend the elections. But don't you worry. The elections will come back. Oh, no, protests? They're insurrectionists. Insurrection Act. Crack it down. And voila, we have a fascist dictator. Folks, we've been saying it for a while. Everyone thinks we're crazy. We're not crazy. We're not crazy. Eyes wide open. We just look at the evidence of our eyes and our ears. We will be wrong about a few things, but about this, Danielle and I have not been wrong. People are still suffering from a failure of imagination. And then last thing I'll say, they're also going after our voting rights, and they're also doing gerrymandering. From every which way, Donald Trump is trying to make sure he can stay in power forever. If you don't believe me, look at those 2028 hats he's showing off in the White House to foreign leaders.
Folks, that is how we are closing out today's show. We have 2,400 people watching. Waj, do your lovely how to support us.
And there's also 1,300 people watching on my Substack, so thanks. And there's people watching on Danielle's Substack, so this might be one of our biggest shows. Folks, we're independent. We are terrible capitalists. We have kept everything for free. There are no paywalls, to our Substack. Danielle's at Damn Digest. I'm at The Left Hook. If you can, become a free subscriber. We also have YouTube channels. You're watching Democracy-ish on Danielle Moody's YouTube channel. She has now finally more than 30,000 subscribers. We're trying to get her to 40,000. Again, it's all free. If you're watching it on YouTube, click the bell. If you're watching on YouTube, if you see all these kind people who've given us these tips, it's because underneath you see an oval with a heart with a dollar sign. These are tips. It all comes to us. It helps Danielle get her extra skanky, cheap as cheap olive oil that costs. How much does it cost now?
$25.
$25. So
on top of my insurance, just putting it out there.
We are like Blanche Dubois. We depend on the kindness of our community, which is growing. And folks, Danielle, she also hosts like 37 shows a day. Danielle, where can they find you next?
Folks, I will be live at 5 p.m. Eastern with the Danielle Moody Show, which is live Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. So do make sure to join us back. And I do not host as many shows as Waj does. Waj, where are you running to next?
Okay, so at 2 p.m., we're going to talk about the genocidal plan of Trump and Netanyahu in Palestine and Israel with Deborah Shushan. At 3 p.m., Brian Carroll joins us in Nerd Adventure to talk about the Barry Weisification of corporate media. And at 4 p.m., I'm joining Jim Acosta for his show. And then 5 p.m., you all go watch Danielle.
Amazing. All right, folks, thank you so much. This was our biggest audience yet. We appreciate every single one of you. Thank you to the newcomers.
Also, real quick, Danielle, for the people who joined us late, it'll be up on our Substacks in about an hour, and it's going to be up on our Danielle's YouTube channel in like 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes. And for those that are new here, again, make sure that you follow us on all of the platforms. Waj and I do a midweek check-in for Democracy-ish on Substack at 3 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays, and then we're back here on Friday at noon. Folks, we appreciate each and every single one of you. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and try very hard. Don't be a fascist. We will see you soon.